Hey now everybody, welcome back, brand new Take Aim, and super excited to get this show out. First time I've ever got to sit down and talk with Aron Snyder. Aron's friends with a few of my friends, and just a great time to get to talk with him, get to know him a little bit, and chat about a recent hunt he just had with his wife, turkey hunting, and just her exposure to the outdoors, and her first hunt, basically killed her first animal ever, a turkey, on this turkey hunt down in the Texas Panhandle. So super excited, have Aron on. Aron, you probably know from Kifaru International and Kifarucast. It's a great podcast, and Aron shares a lot of details of a lot of gear he uses and a lot of info from the hunts they were just on. So it's a great podcast. Highly recommend. And as always, hope you guys enjoy the show. Okay, hey now everybody, welcome back, brand new Take Aim Outdoor Podcast, and happy to get a new show out, and happy to have this guy on the other end of the phone, Aron Snyder. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me on.
Not a problem, man. Excited to talk to you. Me and Aron have several mutual friends, and Aron's well known in the hunting industry, and this is the first time we've actually really got to chat, so excited just to kind of chat with Aron and get to know him better and talk just basically all things hunting.
Yeah, this will be actually everybody will get to listen in to you and I getting to know each other, because we really haven't talked more than 3 minutes at one time. So
No, we haven't, not yet anyway. So, but I know you just got back from Texas with Scotty Campbell. How was that trip? I know you guys shot some birds, you and your wife.
Yeah, we did. It was good. It was my wife's the first animal ever, bow gun, first time hunting. So that was super cool. And then she shot her bird actually when she was with me, but she hunted with John Gibbs mostly, and I hunted with Scott. And then Scott and I guess on the last night ended up shot 3 birds in one night, which I've never done, especially with a stick bow. So that was pretty crazy. And Scott's just an awesome guy. He makes me laugh. Hey, the building's on fire. You should probably get out of here. I mean, he's just calm all the time. So.
All the time. Yeah, he is. He's something special, man. He's the greatest. I've known him for like probably 10 years now, and he's always been that way, and I don't know. He's just one of those guys at least in my opinion, I can't wait to spend time with him. You know, he's just one of those, he's a super high-quality person, and just his mannerisms crack you up. I just always want to be around Scotty.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've got a whitetail hunt. I'm gonna go down, and I might go down and try and hunt outad again with him, or pigs or something. But yeah, exactly. He's a hard guy to not only just to not like, but to not help out in the sense of, you know, like I clothing or backpacks. I'm like, yeah, man, I'll send you one. And he's just a good dude. He's one of those rare few guys that you know is not taking advantage of you, and is just a truly good-hearted person.
Yeah, he truly is, for sure. So tell me about this with your wife. How cool is that? And what was kind of the thought process for her leading up to the hunt, and how did she feel and all the way through it, you know, harvesting her first animal?
Oh, it was yeah, I knew my wife a long time ago. We kind of dated, and she always wanted to go backpacking. And anyway, years later, got back together, and I started taking her backpacking in like 2016, and she was like super addicted to it and loved backpacking and fishing and the whole, you know, everything about it, and wasn't really into hunting. And when we were backpacking, she didn't eat red meat at all, or any meat for that matter. And then obviously living with me, she started to, and then started to eat it every night. Moose or goat or sheep or deer, whatever, elk. And then she wanted to get a bow. At first she didn't have any part of it. Not that she was just like, it's just not for me. Well, somewhere in the middle there we got her a bow, and she started shooting that. And then I asked her, I said, hey, you want to go turkey hunting? You know, Scott said you could come down. It's a good animal to start with, and for whatever reason in the United States, turkeys don't have souls, so it's okay to shoot them. It can be the same way with her. So fish and turkeys and chickens just get the shitty end of the stick. So, you know, we went down there, and I tried to prep her for the adrenaline, and your brain doesn't work right, and it didn't work. None of that shit happened. She missed a bunch of them at first, and I say a bunch. She missed a few. Just nerves, It's hard, that first animal, and she was super excited. She was like really having fun, but she kept apologizing to John that she was sorry she missed, and I was like, hey, you don't need to apologize. Believe me, there's no one in this camp that hasn't missed. I'm telling you, like, it happens. Just keep shooting. Don't worry about it. Try to stay calm. And I don't know, on the third, I think we were there 4 days. On the third night, I asked her if because I make her nervous, not from anything I say or do, just being there makes her nervous. And I was like, hey, do you mind if I sit with you tonight? And so we sat there, and a bearded hen with like a 10-inch beard came in.
No way.
And I'm like, hey, I said, shoot that hen. And, this is, some people don't think you should or whatever. I don't care. We saw a bunch of them, but I'm like, hey, you're not going to see another one of them for a while. I said, I'd shoot that thing. It's cool. If you don't, I will. And she was laughing. And she's like, are you sure? I'm like, that thing's got a beard dragging the ground. Like,
right.
It's pretty freaking cool, honey. And anyway, she shot, she missed, and they took off, and I was like, hey, look, there's birds everywhere around us. Don't worry. Like, just stay calm. And, another big tom came in, big tom, and it was one of those, they rushed into us to the deeks, and, it was like boredom to, oh, my Lord, birds everywhere, full strut, and they're zigzagging, and, I'm not doing a great job. I was like, okay, all right, go ahead, take it. And then, like, 3 seconds later, it moved, and I'm like, all right, wait. And then I'm like, all right. And, well, finally I'm like, just let down. I can't get it to stop. And so I said, hey, when you go to full draw, I'm not going to tell you when to shoot. I'm going to hit the call, and it'll stop. Be on it, and as soon as it stops, don't rush the shot, but take it. And she shot. She just blew feathers off, and she was like not happy. She wasn't pissed. She was just depressed. And I'm like, look, it's a little target. It'll happen. Just stay calm. Well, towards the end of the night, there was one out there at like 35 yards, and I'm like, hey, do you want to shoot at that one? Then this is arguable ethics. And she's like, I don't know, and she's like, I might not hit it. And I kind of looked over to the left. I'm like, yeah, but you might. And I've seen you shoot. You are money at 35. You're missing at 15 and 18 because of your brain. It is not your shooting ability.
Right.
And I said, just calm down, put your pin on it, and shoot it. Well, I think because she thought she should miss at 35, she 12-ringed it and killed it. Well, she hit it and just poaxed it and flipped it. And I said, that shows you it's your brain. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, hell, you knew you were going to miss at 35, so you were calm. At 18, you should hit it, and you missed because your nerves are involved. At 35, I watched her. She wasn't shaking. She was calm, and she killed her first turkey, and she flipped out. She was super excited. Yeah, she's ready to go again. She was pumped. I don't know if she's going to go hunt deer, but I guess she'll hunt turkeys again.
She'll hunt turkeys. Hey, that's a step in the right directions, at least. That's pretty cool. Super cool. And it sounds like you guys saw a lot of birds, which, that makes for an exciting hunt. As you know, taking anybody new to the sport, it's the worst thing is when you don't see animals.
Yeah, and I didn't want to take her on anything. I don't want her to suffer, right? Like, I don't, there's a lot of suffering involved in the hunts that we do, especially the backpack hunts and, that's an overstatement, 300-400 yard low crawls or modified low crawls on mule deer, antelope. I didn't want her doing something where she was so like, this is ridiculous, I'm never doing it again. So a turkey was a good one to start off on. And yeah, you couldn't ask for a better, Scott is just awesome. So it was fun going down there with him.
Yeah, for sure. How cool is that? Well, I know, switch gears just a little, Aaron. I know you were there, a few weeks before that for the aoudad hunt. So can we touch on that for a minute and just tell me, was that your first time hunting aoudad ever?
Oh, yeah, first time ever.
Okay. So give me the whole thought process of how you felt that hunt went, because I know when you look at what Texas is up there in the Panhandle, you don't think it's much, and then you get in some of that country, and it's like, I mean, not relatively speaking for you being in out west, but like me, a Michigander, you get there and you're like, dang, this is pretty rugged country, and it's really neat hunting.
Yeah, it was cool. It definitely is not, for me, what I considered rugged, but what I did consider to be very stalkable. And so that was, like what I really, when we got out there, I'm like, oh, this is doable. Like, this is definitely something I, put enough effort into it and things fall into place. Like, this is something I could get done with a recurve because of the terrain, and ended up panning out. It was just like really Alberta or some of the parts of eastern Colorado where I could use a little bit of physical ability as far as running ahead of them, because they don't seem to ever stop, and kind of cut them off at the pass for an ambush and be able to hide. Where, like with antelope, there's certain spots where antelope live, you're just probably not going to kill them. Just too much flat ground. Where with these, with Aoudad, they would go into canyons and, things like that. So it was very conducive to spot and stalk. And I mean, it was, other than, I wasn't expecting 6-7 degree weather, right? I was really expecting more like 30s, and I was wrong. I froze to death. Like, I think it was like 25 to 30 mile-an-hour winds with single-digit temps when we were tracking mine. Pretty freaking cold.
To touch on that for 1 second, Aaron, I'm not kidding you. I was there. This might have been 2012, and I was hunting with Scotty, and I was whitetail hunting, and I went really late for a bow hunt. This was December 5th, and I woke up that morning. It was 7 below. Got in a tree stand, and it warmed up to a whopping 11 degrees. It was so brutal, like I still remember it and feel it in my bones, because I didn't pack, probably like you is what I'm getting at, I didn't pack those types of clothes, and I was in just like the, what would be like the Sitka, like 90% jacket, or I think they used to call it that. So, I mean, basically a zip-up jacket with no insulation in it. Man, I froze to death. That was such a brutal hunt, and you would never think it gets that cold, but it's so far north in that Panhandle, and it's just like in this stretch of ground that just the wind blows ridiculous amount.
Yeah, it's horrible. And I luckily had some prototype stuff from Sitka that Barklow had sent me, and I thought, well, I'm probably not going to try out anything cold weather down here, but I'll bring it. Well, thank God I did. And I had, if I wouldn't have had the gear I had, I would have really been in trouble. Just because it was, I mean, the wind was just relentless. And, we did have some good weather, some really good weather, but we also had a stretch of 3 days where it, I don't think it got above 15, and the wind was just ridiculous. And I'm going back down there for whitetail, I think the first week in November, and it'll be I think perfect at that point. Well, what it sounds like not miserable as far as cold in November, so we'll see.
Yeah, I've been there around Thanksgiving, Aaron, and it might have been even Thanksgiving. I'm pretty sure I had Thanksgiving dinner with Scotty, and it was cool in the mornings, like around the 30 mark, which is really nice for whitetails. And then in the day, sometimes it would get 50, 60, and I think, once or twice over the years we've had a 70-degree day, but mostly it's like 30 to 55, which, man, that's just perfect, whitetail weather, if you ask me.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, and it's pretty easy to make me, which Scott's finding out, I'm not too hard to please. Like, hey, he's like, well, you'll have a good chance at a 150, and I'm like, Scott, if nothing happens but I get to shoot does, I'm happy. So don't worry about that. I'm like, yeah, if I get to shoot a big buck, I'm happy. It's just fun hanging out there. And the thing with me too is I eat so much wild game, like I would say pretty easily 350 pounds a year. I'm always wanting more wild game, and those deer taste
more
good.
meat.
So
Yeah, for sure. That is true. No, he's got a lot of great deer down there. And did he run you around, Aaron, any of the whitetail spots on your aoudad hunt or turkey hunt?
Not a ton, just briefly, but not the thick of it. Like when we drive by, he'd kind of point, hey, here's a spot, whatever. But we didn't get out and cruise the area at all. It was more like point and drive by type of thing.
Yeah, gotcha. I was down. Oh, this might have been 2014 now, but speaking of big deer, that year I ended up seeing some really awesome mule deer, which you don't think of that area for having great mule deer. And one of the deer I saw that I was, really hoping that, he was just hanging out in this whitetail area, and ended up being the Wes ended up shooting it that year or the next year, and it scored just under 170. But just awesome, just like a high and tight, basically 3x3, might have been a 4x4, but just an awesome deer with a lot of mass.
Oh yeah, well, and he showed me. I think they killed a 190 in there last year.
Yeah, and a 200 just recently, a couple years back.
Yeah, they've killed some big, deer. I told them, I'm like, man, if I get one of those, great. And obviously there's that opportunity, but it's not what I expected initially coming out of Texas. When I first went down and he showed me photos, and I'm like, those are here? Like, you're shooting those white
that's very true. I don't think, which is really nice, and on the whitetail side of things, it's hard to believe that there's still a few pockets left that are kind of under the radar. And man, he's got one up there in the Panhandle. I think there's some of the best deer in the whole country, to be honest. And I know that, as you know, Aaron, there's not a 200-inch buck like on every 5 acres or anything, but overall, what makes that area so neat is the age. And coming from Michigan, our normal age on a deer, I'm not kidding you, it's 1.5, Aaron. So you go down there, you're seeing deer from 4 to 8 years old. It's insanity to me. And I just think it's almost like Disney for a deer hunter.
Yeah. He look, I asked him, I said, I can tell age real well. I mean, are you looking at 4.5, 5.5 years old? And, he was, like, oh yeah, at least 4.5, 5's better. And I'm like, man, that's good as far as genetics wise. And they take obviously very good care in the age, how to put this, when you're from out west, you don't think of it as much. I mean, you do when you're on private land and you can really, like, management-wise, really take care of it. But, when you're on over-the-counter tags, you're not always, a lot of times you're just shooting what you can find. And then, the more I've screwed around with whitetails and QDMA or whatever, quality deer management, you really do see the benefits of really taking older, mature, age class bucks long term, where you're on one property, and it's not like it's high fence, you're just on one property, let's say, and you're seeing nothing but old, mature deer, and even the younger deer, good deer, and you go 60 miles away, basically the same area, and it's a night and day difference because they're just whacking everything. So there's something to be said for taking care of your land, and coming from a guy out west that doesn't know shit about QDMA, it is pretty amazing when you see it done well.
It is amazing what it can be done, and I assume, you've kind of learned a lot just from being on Brian's place in Bama, like what they do, management-wise is pretty crazy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they do really. I mean, Brian does a really good job down there as well.
And, one thing that, like you're just saying, it cracks me up about Texas. Every time I speak of it, people look at me, for one, in the Midwest, we say farms, we don't say ranches, and there's a bad tag when you say ranch because everybody believes it's high fence. I'm like, no, it's not like that, man. These guys just, Scotty's got a place that is, he'll lease or has permission on, have a 600-acre wheat field in it. And that's just the wheat field. That's not even all the hunting ground. It just is such a different world because we're so used to hunting 10 acres or 15 acres, 40 acres here that everybody, puts that sad high fence thing on Texas, which is, kind of crappy
to be honest, but it's just such big land down there is what I'm getting at, that acreage-wise, that some of these deer can just age up the way they do.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, I was pretty impressed, especially for, like you say, North Texas and no high fence. It's pretty crazy.
It is crazy. It's crazy to think about. So you're headed back down. Do you know when you're going to head back down and do an audit again?
Possibly. I mean, I think actually, I don't know if I will. We're trying to get. We're waiting on Frank's bows actually, and he was going to go down there.
He was supposed to go. That's right.
Yeah, and then Amy and I, when we came back, I called Frank, said, "Hey, come ahead down." But Amy and I are heading back. It turns out he's sick as a dog, but he or got sick, but he was going to shoot one with a rifle, and he was like, "Well, you want to just try and go, later when my bows come." And he still hasn't got his bows, so it's a good, I mean, we were hoping he'd get them where when we were here, dial them in, but we're probably going to go down there if we can, like sometime in May. It just depends, right? It gets too hot, we probably won't go back down there if it's in July because I'll die. But if not, obviously we're going this next year coming up, and we're actually doing a big giveaway for that for guys to come down and hunt with us, Frank and I and Scott. So
yeah, actually speak on that real quick, Aaron, where they can get details for the giveaway.
Well, on the Kifarucast Instagram page, it's pretty simple. You just get on there and follow, the partners we did the giveaway with, and then tag a buddy, and you're entered to win. And it's just Kifarucast. And there's a bear hunt we're doing with Primitive Outfitting up in BC next spring, as well as not really spring, but whatever, January, February time frame with Scott, an Aoudad hunt. We're giving away that, and then just a package of gear. So three different prizes, two of them being hunts, and one of those hunts being Aoudad with Scott and Frank and I. And I think Brian's going to go Broderick as well.
That'd be cool. And what will be the time frame on that one? That'd be next year?
Yeah, yep, next year. I think, probably do it in February again, but, it'll really be up to Scott more than anything. He was gracious enough to donate his time. Kifaru's paying for the actual hunt, and then Scott's obviously just going to kind of lead the show. And we were down there. It's where Broderick shot his Aoudad, and it's not the rolling hills like where I shot mine, like the big wide open spaces. It's kind of crazy. It's right on the edge of the Palo Duro Canyon. And they hang out on these wheat fields up above. And actually the most success we found was poor Scott going all the way around the field and pushing them to us, and then they just they wouldn't run, they just kind of meander and head down to the Palo Duro Canyon, and you'd wait on these game trails, and it was not what I had expected, but it was super cool. So
that is super cool. I think that hunting that whole area is really cool. I told Broderick last time he was on the podcast that which you might know, Aaron, but that canyon, it is the second biggest canyon in the U.S., which is really neat to think that you can be in there hunting right along that canyon is something unique and kind of one of a kind. And I just give a lot of credit to Audit. I just think that's such a special hunt. And as a bow hunter, I think I've just put it way up there on kind of the Mount Everest of awesome animals to kill with a bow.
Yeah, I would agree. It's pretty crazy, and hunting on the edge of that canyon is just crazy because you're right on basically something the size of a Grand Canyon. I mean, it's not that big, but they dump into that canyon. Yeah, and so initially I was hoping to shoot one on the cliff edge of that canyon. It just didn't work out that way, but meaning when we got on that property. But there is a pile of Aoudad in there, so it'll be whoever wins, I'm sure will be happy with the hunt. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, you're winning a once-in-a-lifetime hunt, if you ask me, and super exciting for all you guys, to do a giveaway of that magnitude. So I appreciate that. That's good stuff for everybody in the hunting industry and everybody, on the outside looking in to get involved and to do a special hunt like that's really unique.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think, it's good for everybody.
For sure, but I'm excited to get down there. I'm going to be hunting with Scotty later this year in in October. Me and him are just going to hang out for a week and do some hunting together, so that should be fun. I can't wait to get down there and hang out. Me and him are going to bow hunt for a week, probably do some mule deer and whitetail hunting, so it should be super cool.
Oh, heck yeah. Where are you at in Michigan?
I'm in southern Michigan, Aaron. I am, long story short, but I was about 20 miles from Indiana. I had a business out there for the past 9 years, and my wife and son have been 25 miles south of Detroit. So we're halfway between Detroit and Toledo, and or if I was out where my business is, I'm about 20 miles north of Indiana. So I'm back home now at the moment, and I still hunt out there, so it's basically like a 2-hour jog west. And that's where a lot of my hunting farms are that I actually, deer hunt and turkey hunt on. I was just out there this week. Monday was our opening day of turkey. So just out there and just came back, actually.
Oh, gotcha. Cool.
Yeah. So, but sadly this area, we're right on kind of the edge of suburb mania. And where I live is really nice. There's a lot of farm ground and a lot of country, but you go 10 minutes the other way and it's like you're in, cement city, so to speak.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I kind of know where you're at. I've gotten in trouble for making fun of Michigan hunting. When I say making fun of it, saying it sucks a couple times, but it does suck up there. It's rough hunting. And I say it sucks. It's just brutal to try to get an animal.
It is brutal. I mean, it's brutal even to kill a turkey here. I mean, just the magnitude of so many guys hunting, it makes it really hard. And there's two types of hunters here, if you ask me. There's the guys that can go anywhere, I think, in the nation or up in Canada and hunt, and they just get it because they've worked so hard to kill stuff here and become really good hunters. And then there's just the typical Michiganders where it's brown is down mentality, shoot it from the back porch, and to me, that's not a hunter, so to speak. So there's definitely two groups here, probably like in every state, but just overall, Michigan is really hard, man. There's a lot of deer hunters. Now, I don't even know if you know the numbers, Aaron. Like, on opening day, we have 1 million dudes in the woods with guns. Opening day of gun, that is. So, I mean, just think about that pressure-wise, what it does to the kind of ecosystem of wildlife. It's a lot. So you got to be something special here to kill a couple good animals in a lifetime.
Yeah, I'm just blame it on Trump and Ted Nugent.
It's obviously his fault, so we'll just leave it at that. But what else you got planned this year? I know you got quite a few hunts coming up.
It depends on the draws and everything, but we've got Frank's going up for spring bear with Lander, which we just found out. I don't think I'm going to be able to go on that one, and I'm going to go with Bart Lancaster right after that. And then, obviously if we can do Audad, and I think Amy and I might go up for Nebraska turkey and that kind of stuff. But as far as fall, Frank and I, depending, we'll hunt antelope out east. Frank might go to a different spot. I'm not 100% sure. And then high country mule deer, if we draw the tag, then we're going for Alaska for mountain goat. When we get back from that, and not all of these are set in stone, we may go up to, you know what, I can't even remember. We're going to go somewhere else. And then Frank's got a elk hunt for rifle. And then after that, I think we're going to, maybe it's North Dakota, and then Texas, and then Oklahoma. Man, I'm forgetting. Frank might go to Idaho for a hunt, British Columbia for mountain lion and lynx and bobcat, Alabama. Frank, am I forgetting anything? Oh, he's not in the office. And then I think there's a sheep hunt in the middle there somewhere if we draw the tag. And man, I'm forgetting some. Anyway, quite a bit.
I think you and Brian are going to that place I hunted in Alberta, aren't you?
I don't know if we're going to go on that or 100% or not.
Okay.
I double booked, and I was going to have a guy go with Broderick and just pay for it, and Broderick did not seem to want any part of that, so I haven't talked to Broderick about it as far as what's going to go on with that, but we'll see. Because I know Lander, the guy I normally hunt with up there. I'm going to go, I think, with him. I just got to talk with Broderick and figure it out.
Gotcha. No, I gotcha. Well, I was going to totally joke, Aron, with you that we needed to start this, which I totally forgot to do, that we needed to start this podcast, obviously talking about FOC.
Oh, Lord. Yeah. Might as well. Everybody else did.
Yeah, might as well. Might as well follow everybody else. But anyways, but thanks, Aron, for being on today, man. I know you're busy and in the office already in Colorado. What is it, like 6 a.m. there?
Yeah, 6:10, I think, 6:15.
6:10, 6:15. But for those of you that don't know, and I didn't mean to forget when I started the show today, but Aron is a host of his own podcast, which he gave the Instagram to, Kifarucast, and Aron talks about a lot of the hunts they do on that. So I suggest you guys hit the download button and follow along with Aron and the rest of the crew, because Aron does a great job with that show. And I don't know, anything else I'm forgetting, Aron? And Kifaru packs as well. Day 6 gear. Yeah. Everything.
Yeah. No, it's Frank and I do the Kifarucast, and then Kifaru International is the backpack, sleeping bags, tents, things like that, and then Day 6 gear, which is arrows and hopefully soon broadheads. And you can follow along on our Instagram pages or my own, and there's always something going on. We try to keep it as lively as we can on everything.
Which you do, man. You do a great job, so keep at it, and I really appreciate having you on today.
No, thanks for having me on, man, anytime. And, I'm sure I'll talk to you soon enough one way or another.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds good. And as everybody knows, you can find us every week on the Unfiltered Outdoor app, podbros.com, iTunes. And thanks again, Aron. Can't wait to have you on again.
Thanks, man. Take it easy.
You too.